Oh, hey, Internet! How's it going? This week, Facebook admits to an experiment where it played with our emotions, and then it issued a standard non-apology saying that it's our fault for not reading the terms of service properly. How nice of them. They're just great guys. Google put out a cardboard version of the Oculus, which, James, is just as good as the Oculus in every conceivable way. Just as good. And the MPAA worked hard this week to promote a previously obscure subreddit that offered links to full videos of movies. My name is Justin Pott. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and you're listening to Technophilia. Keep doing that. With me today from the UK, as always, is Mr. James Bruce. How's it going, James?
I'm good. Little Oculus is also good.
Little Oculus. For those who are just joining us, James recently became a father, and it has changed absolutely nothing about his outlook on life. It is profound how not...
Yeah, I'm sorry if you were expecting some madness from me.
I just thought you'd become this loving person.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
You know what? This minor technology dispute we're having doesn't matter because the children... No, that's not James. He's still like, you're all wrong about everything. Also with Connecticut is Mr. Dave LeClaire. How's it going?
Yo. I don't have any children yet, thank God.
Are we still on the air? Is this still happening? I guess so. I guess we'll keep doing this. Should we move on to the news?
What's news?
I don't know.
Oh.
Podcast, as always, is brought to you by MakeUseOf.com. Stay tuned at the top of the show when we talk about some of the giveaways you can participate in right now. But for now, Facebook is literally trying to depress you, or at least they were in 2012. Now, a lot of people know that when you go to Facebook.com, what you're seeing, it's not like Twitter. And by that I mean it's not the most recent posts at the top written by your friends in order. They arrange it kind of randomly. This is why sometimes you'll see something from like 3 months ago that'll just surface at the top all of a sudden, right? And this is an algorithm that determines what the top posts are. And what determines what's the top post? Well, when other people comment on it, that gives it some credibility. If people like it, that gives it some credibility. If Facebook has noticed that there's certain people you like talking to more than other people, that will make it more likely to show up at the top post. But the most important thing is that if Facebook just arranged everything chronologically, you'd go to Facebook.com, you'd see that there's only 2 new posts, and then you'd close the tab and get on to your life and maybe do something productive. And to Facebook, getting on with your life and doing something productive is like the worst possible of all outcomes. They want you to keep scrolling, right? So they show a bunch of random crap from the past, they kind of jumble it up in order to make it seem consistently fresh, keep you scrolling as long as possible. So that's what the algorithm was doing previously, but apparently for a while in 2012, you might have been subject to a scientific experiment where they showed you only happy or only sad results and then recorded whether your future posts were happy or sad. It was supposed to track emotional contagions. James, have you caught any emotional contagions lately?
I'm not sure what one is, but probably. I'm probably riddled with them.
I think that's what little Oculus is. He's an emotional contagion.
Little Oculus is an emotional contagion.
That's one way of describing kids, yeah. I think the problem I have with this whole Facebook thing, right, is that if anyone else was to do this study, they would have to kind of run it by an ethics committee first, who would have just shot this down instantly. Like, it reminds me of the Stanford prison experiment, which was initially kind of approved, but then quickly got shut down when they realized how it was actually emotionally affecting everyone, like serious negative consequences. And they forced
No, for those who aren't familiar with this, because there might be some people, the Stanford prison experiment happened at Stanford University, and a psychologist put some people dressed up as prison guards and some people dressed up as prisoners and simulated a prison 24 hours a day for like a couple weeks, I think was. But 5 days into it, the guards were being just such total assholes to the prisoners. Like, they believed what they knew was fake so intently that they had to shut it down. Just giving people authority turns them into monsters. So yeah, obviously some ethical problems with doing that, though I think NBC might be considering a recreation of this to prop up their fall schedule. But yeah, so you really think manipulating Facebook results is on par with that, James?
Yeah. I think in terms of ethically, it is. I mean, as it turns out, right, the Facebook experiment was actually a bit of a failure. They found a very, very tiny but positive influence. I think it was like, if they had only sad stories, then it would be like a couple more words out of every 1,000 would be sadder.
Well, it's
So
almost as
really,
though-
the results were kind of irrelevant. But can you imagine if your mobile phone provider did this, like started screening your calls, or would only tell you happy things or the sad things? It's the same thing, really, isn't it? Like Facebook
Definitely.
is a communications provider at this point, and they can't just mess around with you like this.
Well, could you? I mean, here's the thing, right? Facebook's a service that people use based on the promise that you will see what your friends are telling you. And they've kind of already broken that promise by manipulating the news feed in the way I said earlier, right? Because you're not seeing what your friends say, you're seeing what Facebook thinks you will find interesting. Now, for a long time, Facebook has argued that, well, if we didn't do it this way, people would miss important posts, right? But I have, since noticing this, changed my newsfeed for an article I'm working on about how to avoid being experimented on to only show me the most recent posts. And you know what? It's bloody fantastic. I open up Facebook, I scroll through the 3 posts my friends have put up in the last hour, and then I'm done, and then I get out of there. And that's why Facebook manipulates the results, right? They want to keep me in.
Yeah.
Does that apply to pages too? Like, do you see the recent?
Yeah, everything I see in order. Pages, posts, whatever they post goes in order.
It's crazy,
and
isn't it?
there's a plugin for Chrome you can install for this. I've got a whole article. You can check it out on Make Use of. I hope later today. It's a priority post. It's supposed to go up. And it's just how to not be experimented on. It's a little trickier on mobile because you can use browser extensions on your desktop. On mobile, you basically have to not use the official Facebook app. There's no way to set this to default anymore. So.
But you could just go to. You could just click most recent without a browser extension on the.
You can. And it will make it the default for a few sessions, but it'll switch back after a while.
Oh, okay. So, but it's not. I mean, it's not. I guess it's not that hard to just every time you go to Facebook to click that if you want. But
yeah, but
see, I don't know. I find that the most recent thing is like a cesspool of bullshit that I don't want to see.
Yeah. Like what kind of shit?
Like just like my friends posting like just stupid articles that they found somewhere, or like some person who I knew at like college sharing a photo of their baby or something, like that the actual smart quote-unquote news feed would know that I could give a shit less about, and therefore I don't see it.
Well, and that's why I've liked the most recent thing, because Facebook is really terrible at figuring out what I want to see. They're just bad at it.
They seem to have me down pretty good, because
really?
they show me shit that I care about, and I just switched it to the most recent, and I was like, what is all of this trash?
I think for most people, the algorithmically sorted one is probably better because they have a ton of friends who they just don't care about.
Yeah.
Well, if you really take the time to cut your friends list down, then it's obviously you're going to prefer it without that.
Happens to everyone, right? You go to a party, you meet someone, and you kind of hit it off, right? And they're like, oh, I should totally add you to my Facebook. And then they do that, and then you never see this person again, right? But now you get their crap in your stream, right? So you do need, if you want to use Facebook in this way, to go through your friends list every couple months, I'd say, and delete the people who you don't actually care about. Otherwise, it's going to be shit.
Do you delete ex-girlfriends? Or do you just keep them around just to see how they're doing?
Girl since my freshman year of college, so that's not really a relevant point for me. Yeah, I've been with the same woman my entire adult life, so I don't really have any exes.
See, I just unfollow people on Facebook, but leave them on my friends list so they don't get sad that I unfollowed them. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt their feelings. They'll see that we're not friends anymore. But if I just unfollow them, then their posts don't show up anymore. But they still think that we're homies.
If someone has 700 friends, they're not going to notice that you unfollow them. They might just notice. They won't. They won't. You know how friggin' hard Facebook makes it to figure that out?
They may notice, so they may be like, man, I wonder what that Dave LeClaire is up to. What? He unfriended me? Oh, my God. Then they're going to be the depressed experiment.
Look, Christian, our esteemed Security Matters editor, pointed out today that the story has since somewhat deepened, with the original announcement by the researcher saying the study was funded in part by the James McDonald Foundation and the Army Research Office, right?
Oh my goodness.
When that was pointed out, it was edited to remove any mention of the Army Research Office. Now, whether that was a mistake or whether actually they just don't want a huge PR problem, I think it's obvious which one.
Well, if they don't want a huge PR problem, I've got a bit of a secret for them. They've got a huge PR problem. But this is interesting, right? Because there's the possibility the military could use this ability to spread emotional contagions to, I don't know, maybe make everyone irrationally think we should invade some country that had nothing to do with the attack on our shores, maybe Iraq? I don't know. Like, They've gotten pretty
They'd
good
never
at
do that.
manipulating the conventional media, so the Army being able to manipulate social media in this subtle, hard-to-prove manner could be useful for them, so I could see where that would freak people out. I could see conspiracy theorists, as our coworker Ryan, somewhat of a conspiracy theorist expert, pointed out in an email this morning. But yeah, crazy. So Kashi, our super fan, is pretty adamant that Facebook did nothing wrong here, that we all agreed to the terms of service, and the terms of service is that we might be used for research as part of this. You know, but the terms of service for iTunes says I can't use iTunes to build a nuclear weapon, and I've completely ignored that, so I don't see why I should have paid attention to this one line. You know what I'm saying, James? Like,
well, it all relies on the definition of informed consent, which is sure, you do research, but you have to be informed about it. You have to know what's being done on you. You don't just say, okay, you can do any research to me in my life ever, whenever you want. That's not what informed consent means, right?
No, totally, because people don't know. People don't read terms of service. But so legally, because of the terms of service, they're off the hook. Does that mean we should let them off the hook ethically here? Does that mean we should keep, as people, letting a good chunk of our communication go through a company that has demonstrated time and time again they don't give a shit what we think?
You say let them off the hook, but really, what are we going to do? Like, I can't forgive you, Facebook. That's the end of it. Okay. Like, are you going to delete your Facebook account? Really? Really?
There's no good alternative.
Cool anyway. I think it's cool that they're using Facebook for something useful, even if it's a weird experiment on people.
I think you could look at this optimistically and say, well, Facebook was just trying to spread a little love, a little happiness in the world by filtering out the bad stuff. Or you could look at it a little more negatively and say, post-NSA, realistically, they could start affecting opinions like election results or public opinion or... Yeah. Is Facebook the best propaganda machine the US has ever created? Quite possibly.
Well, it wouldn't be propaganda, wouldn't it? They would just be limiting what you see. I don't know. I don't know if anyone can really control Facebook. I don't know if anyone can control Facebook in the way you're saying.
Facebook can control
I would
Facebook in the way he's saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's
like
true.
they want
activity
so-and-so to win to show you all the news posts from people who are talking about so-and-so in the election, and that will slowly.
But they just keep
people.
doing dick moves because we've got a page. Okay, so I saw this thing this week. Snickers put up the exact same message on their Facebook page, which I'm going to make up some numbers here. I'm not sure, but it has like 1 million followers, and their Twitter page that has like 50,000 followers. Okay, and on Facebook, they had about 300 people saw the friggin' post, and like 2 of them liked it. And on Twitter, and this, I can't, it was a joke, I can't remember what it was. On Twitter, like 5,000 people retweeted it, meaning that they potentially reach like hundreds of thousands of people. So you've got a way bigger following on Facebook, right? But on Twitter, the followers are active, and this is important, there's no gatekeeper controlling what people do and don't see. You go to Twitter, you see all the posts that everyone you follow put up in order. You know what to expect, and if you don't want to see someone's crap anymore, it's on you, the user, to unfollow it. Facebook is like, yeah, people are too stupid to do that. We're going to do it for them. So I guess this is why Twitter is used more by web-savvy people, and Facebook is used by your mom. I guess that's the difference. Yeah.
Still, we get way more traffic from Facebook than from Twitter, though.
Make use of does?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that has something to do with the targets that a lot of the article.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I think it's like 5 times more or something ridiculous like that. But I guess I'm just really good at manipulating the algorithm.
Dave LeClaire here runs Make Use of's Facebook page. I run the Technophilia Facebook page, and we don't get great results with it. But you know what? A couple people do hang out consistently, including Kashi, who I mentioned earlier. He had a few words to say about this. He basically dominated on Make Use of's post about this. And his opinion is basically this is totally fine because it was in the terms of service. It's legit. I guess legally, that's true. The question is whether this is ethically good, and more importantly, whether it makes me feel somewhat sick in my stomach and want to punch Mark Zuckerberg in the face. And on that second point, yes, it does make me kind of sick and want to punch
Well, hang
people.
on. I'm not sure I agree with this. Just
No.
because something is in a terms of service doesn't make it legal. I mean, if it is fundamentally illegal, you can't just put it in a terms of service and make it legal.
Why would it be fundamentally illegal? Facebook
well, if for instance you wrote, "It's okay for me to kill you," and then you buried that sentence within 15,000 pages of legalese bullshit that no one's ever going to read.
James.
That doesn't make it legal to kill them, right? Just as it doesn't make it ethically okay.
Well, sure, but that's not what they're saying.
Like this.
Well, we're not talking about ethics. What Facebook did is say, hey, I'm giving you a free service, and in exchange for the use of this free service, you have to admit that we're basically going to do whatever the hell we want. Here's a bunch of things we want to do. That's what the terms of service is, right? And it's not like it's not like there's a legal framework to say what can and can't be in a terms of service. There's a lot of legal gray areas about terms of services in general. Now, if it said, I am entitled to your firstborn son, then yeah, that might be a bit of a problem. But if it says, like, we're entitled to use any stuff you upload to this service to conduct experimental research on your friends, well, as long as your friends are using the service willingly, like there's no law I can think of that makes that illegal right now. That's what I'll say.
No, there's nothing illegal about it. It's unethical.
Yeah. Unethical is such a gray area.
Oh, man. Now we're going to the new segment on Technophilia I like to call Dave LeClaire moral relativist. Dave?
It is. You know, what's unethical to you might not be against my ethics. I'm all for experimenting on people who aren't expecting it. That's how you get the best results. If they know you're experimenting on them, then the results are strong.
If they'd have just done a happiness study where they only tried to make people happy and only showed you happy stories, I don't think there would be as many complaints, would there? Because that would be dubious, but not in any way kind of unethical.
It's only because they were making them sad that it's a problem?
I would
doing
say
both.
so, yeah.
It would be a crap experiment if you just did happiness, because you need to test both. I would like to see an anger test.
Well, that'd be pretty easy. Just figure out like what you like and then show you posts that are the opposite.
Yeah, I just get like conservative commentary just streaming through my feed. I'm not even like a hardcore liberal or anything. I just hate certain kinds of commentary. So that would just make me angry. But the problem with that is I would simply close Facebook and then go to Twitter where I've curated things nicely and I have more control. Like Facebook needed to do the experiment subtly enough that people just didn't get so upset that they just stopped using Facebook. But anyways, if you want to stop being experimented on, and I think have a much more pleasant Facebook experience, consider looking at the top posts, see what's new, and get out quickly, and avoid being experimented on completely. There are some great plugins for this out there. You'll see an article on makeuseof.com about that. Yeah.
Just keep your Facebook around so you can contact people, but don't ever actually look at it because it's full of crap.
Yeah.
That's
just set Facebook to go straight to messages. Or you know what I did is I set up Facebook Messenger to go straight to messages on my Mac. You can do the same thing with Pigeon. Is that still a thing on Windows or Linux? I don't know what the cool multi-client Windows thing is at this point.
And then you won't be affected by any of these algorithms.
Yeah. When people try to contact you directly, you'll see it. Otherwise, you won't. So there's ways you can use Facebook without them getting anything from you, and I recommend doing that. I love having the chat hooked up to messages like this. It's great.
But how am I going to know when my friends post pictures of their babies that I don't care about?
How are you going to know what Game of Thrones character they are?
Yeah. Yeah. What if
they
get Ned Stark? That means then they're.
That means they're worth keeping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means they're a good guy. From the north.
So I'm going to object to one statement Kashi's making in the chat room, and he's saying, if you want ethics real, make ethics the law. By nature, these two things need to be different. And we just expect companies to behave in a certain way, not necessarily because it's the law, but because we've trusted them with a certain amount of information. We expect car companies to reveal when they know that there's a safety problem, even if it's not the law that they have to, just because they've kind of lied to us if they know that there's a safety problem and they don't fix it or at least tell us about it, right?
That's interesting because there isn't the same legal requirement of, say, Microsoft to reveal known security flaws for their operating systems, are there? But there is for a car.
It's different to say. So if Microsoft has a security flaw, they shouldn't release it as quickly as possible because then it could be exploited. But let's say Microsoft intentionally inserted a security flaw to see how long hackers would take to find it. I would be pissed off about that. So experimenting's a little different than simply not revealing that you know something's wrong. That's a totally different scenario, isn't it? Or let's say
well, I'm talking about the car.
Say a car company. The car comparison. What do you mean?
Well, you said if a car company knows there's something wrong with its car, then they're legally obliged to do something about it. But the same isn't true of the
I said they're not legally obliged. But if they don't, I'm going to be. No, I don't think they are.
I would have thought they are.
No, they're not legally obliged, but they can get in trouble
or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway,
by the way, there was more news.
Give Facebook the ability to control what's in your feed, or even better, stop using Facebook. Just stop. They're bad people. They don't care about you. They want to. You are a resource to them. You're not their user. You're the product they're trying to sell. They want to manipulate you emotionally so they can sell you shit. And that's the thing like no one's talking about here, right? Facebook is an experiment in general. They are trying to optimize that news feed to make it as likely as possible that you click their little advertisement for buying cotton candy or whatever. Like that's why this exists. You're the product that's being sold, you know? And imagine if a TV network didn't have to come with any programming. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You should find something.
I'm not sure why we've spent so long talking about Facebook when there is far more important news this week.
Well, okay, let's get to the more important news. Let's wrap this up and let's move on to the biggest story of the week. The one that I think personally, a bit of a game changer, going to revolutionize smartphone operating systems. James, what do we got?
Well, that world-leading operating system, Windows Phone 8.1, which has all the features that you could ever want. They've just added this little thing called folders, which is madness because it lets you group applications and things together into one folder, so it's easier to access. It's crazy.
Oh, wait, okay, I get how the iPhone and the Android were able to use this revolutionary technology before because they had icons, right? But Windows 8 has squares. How do you put squares into a folder, James? I am blown away that this is possible. How did they find the technology to put squares in folders?
This is beyond my level of programming, to be honest.
You don't know? You don't know?
I don't think I would have thought it was possible.
Dave, does this change the smartphone conversation completely?
Well, I remember when they added folders to iOS, it was pretty awesome. So now that it's on Windows Phone, I'm thinking about just throwing my phone in the trash and moving along to the Windows Phone.
So I have not had a smartphone. I'm actually primarily notable. If I ever have a Wikipedia page, it'll probably just say like he's a guy who doesn't have a smartphone. Like this is the thing I've gotten the most attention for of anything. But I gotta say, Windows 8.1 having folders, kind of reconsidering. I think I might get a smartphone now. Yeah, I think this has totally changed my mind. Yeah. How long can we keep doing this?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Windows Phone, whatever it's called, with a number on the end of it. It's a perfectly good phone operating system filled with...
Dave, is it true you jailbroke your iPhone just to put folders within folders?
I did do that, actually.
Really? Wait, you can... Why would you want that?
I don't have it anymore. My phone's not
button, and then there's like strategy, series. Like, what are you using that for?
It was like, because I had like a ton of games, so it'd be like in the game folder there'd be subfolders for the different game genres, or in the social folder, or like in the bullshit folder there could be like, you know, this and that and the other thing and stuff, you know, stupid shit like that. But
okay, so the question, James,
it was useful.
Does Windows Phone 8.1 have folders inside folders?
I doubt it.
You know what would be really cool?
You'd have to jailbreak it.
That's for 8.2, probably.
If there was a button, maybe toward the bottom left of the phone, that you could click and then see like a list of folders. And from there, browse all your different apps. Might be cool. Maybe the control panel, recent documents. I don't know. Just an idea. Microsoft. Think about it. Speaking of revolutionary ideas that will change the world forever, Google had its I/O conference last week. We tried to comment on it real time. We suck. We could try to comment on what happened during it, but we suck. We don't know enough. What we are going to do is talk about the product they gave people as they were leaving. It was called Cardboard. And it's just some cardboard you can shape nicely and place a smartphone in. And with a particular app, you can use your Android phone to look at virtual reality. Now, this is obviously not meant to be a replacement for the likes of the Oculus, but it's an interesting experiment, and it shows how simple 3D can be. We talked with, what was that? We had a couple guys a year ago, Dave. Do you remember?
Copy 3D, yeah. They actually sent me an email about this.
Very similar. Very similar.
Yes.
More complex, and this thing could actually allow your phone to record in addition.
Yeah, the only difference is it has a mirror on the front, which lets you take the 3D videos too.
Yeah, yeah. So a little different, but it reminded me of this. I haven't tried cardboard or the Oculus. I'm not the one to talk to this. James, have you tried cardboard yet?
I haven't. It's a little more than just cardboard. You also need a pair of lenses to distort the image properly.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a little pair. You can buy them for like $10 on Amazon if you wanted to make your own.
Okay.
But this is apparently a prototype for what Google is working on with Oculus. It's not meant to replace the Oculus. It's a prototype because Oculus are also going to be making a Android-based headset, a proper one. Apparently, I believe.
So, it's a pretty cheap prototype, you have to admit. And if you're just a developer who wants to make some stuff based in VR, it's a pretty cheap way to get started now. So can you really complain about it? I don't. A lot of people said, see, you can make the Oculus for like $20. And ha ha ha. I don't think that was the point here at all. I think it was just an example of how simple the concept really is.
It's mainly to play around with things like Street View in 3D and that. Which is kind of cool. It's something you can do on the Oculus as well, obviously. But to just throw your Android into a little bit of cardboard and try it is kind of cool. And of course, you already have the motion sensors within a phone, so it knows when you tilt your head and that.
So I want to know if in cardboard, if you can like in 3D open a folder, and then see another folder inside that folder and open it, because
folders in Oculus Land.
Folderception.
This sounds like heaven on earth, or hell. I'm not sure which one. It could be.
That's what we need here. Speaking of the Oculus, there's something James wants to talk about that I don't give a shit about. James?
Oh yeah, I thought I'd mention that DevKit 2 is shipping soon. There was a shipping announcement yesterday for the first 10,000 orders. I think I'm probably about 15,000, but it's starting to ship now, so you're probably going to see a lot of reviews on that.
Another friggin' DevKit. Are they going to sell an actual device to consumers at some point, or is that some distant dream?
Some distant dream. That'll probably be the start of next year, Q1.
Are they going to manipulate my virtual world in order to change my emotions? Because if they're going to do that, I'd just like to know up front. I just want them to tell me. That's all. I mean,
well, I've already signed the terms and conditions for Oculus Rift anyway, so yeah.
I just ordered an Oculus Rift the other day, everybody. Are you proud of me?
Yeah, it was the giveaway, right?
Yeah, it wasn't for me, though, but yeah, I just ordered it. It said that one's going to be shipping in August, apparently, though.
We will, of course, be giving one away, so if you would like to get your hands on the latest and greatest Oculus Rift, the DK2, which has a much higher resolution and positional tracking as well, whereas the first only had rotational.
So that means there's going to be, for the second time in my life, there's going to be an Oculus Rift in my house. I feel
you don't want to touch.
Disgusting and
no interest in.
Filthy and I had an Oculus 1 in my house, now a 2. I assume when the consumer unit comes out, that'll probably be shipped to me too. It's like I can't escape this piece of shit. It keeps just coming into my house. And the worst part is, because it's for a giveaway, I can't even open it and like look at how shitty it is. I have to just leave it in the shitty box.
Yeah, you probably could. I don't suppose anyone would mind.
I'm not gonna open somebody's brand new Oculus and put it on my fat, sweaty face and get face grease all over it. That's gross.
Fair enough.
Moving right along.
Now that is exciting, though, that there's going to be a whole new, generation of Oculus in the hands of the people. Even though I don't think that it's very good, I still think that's good
it's gonna
news.
Be on the face of the people. You don't put this thing in your hand.
Well, you put it in your hands to put it on your face, and then you walk around like, oh, I'm an Oculus zombie, oh, like that.
Does it have like lights on the phone that flash, and then you could sing about how you're up all night?
It does actually.
You get lucky, yeah.
It's used for positional tracking.
Sweet.
Boom.
I don't think Pharrell actually wears the face.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Someone else sings while you wear the head.
Pharrell sings and Daft Punk wears the face things and makes the beats.
Well, no, the Daft Punk does sing later on in the song. So,
There you go.
In response to Koshi in the chat room, we are not going to be doing a giveaway for cardboard. Although, if you'd like, I have an Amazon box I could send you.
The shipping would cost more than... Just buy your own, dude. It's not expensive. I'm sure there will be Indian street
give away like 20 of them, maybe. No, we couldn't, because it sucks. Free cardboard.
Here's a box! Speaking of buying something and pretty much just getting the box that's of value, BlackBerry. They put up a website about the great BlackBerry migration myth. That's right. Apparently it's a myth that none of your friends are using BlackBerries anymore. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a whole new thing they've launched called BlackBerry Fact Check, which is supposed to be like debunking the myths about BlackBerry sucking so much. And so far, is just a bunch of corporate blog posts, which is kind of crap.
Yeah, well, they're just saying like, wow, I just got to criticize them for their design choice here. Blue links on black backdrop. This is why people don't use BlackBerries. You can read these friggin' lines. What is this? I gotta. Anyways.
My last remaining BlackBerry using friend just got an iPhone like 2 weeks ago.
So BlackBerry does have some markets that it's going to do okay in, but it's not the big markets anymore, and they're going to have to do a lot of work in 2010 to change that around. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spreading a myth here, but it seems like they're underwater, and it's going to be pretty hard. And that's a hard thing for me to say the day after Canada Day, but I think it's over.
I reckon if we make up a load of stuff about BlackBerry now, we could submit our podcast to their busting BlackBerry myths thing, and then we get like 3 viewers, right?
Maybe.
Or they would say that we are a myth and we don't exist.
Oh my god, why didn't I think of this before? We just need to say bad stuff about BlackBerry. Right, quick.
Yeah.
BlackBerry batteries, they blow up in about 20 minutes usually once you bought it.
Yeah, typically. And I believe that BlackBerry devices don't even have internet access anymore. Like, they don't work. You can just use them to text and a phone. And I believe voicemail support is coming in 2016. I think that's the current plan.
When I worked at BlackBerry, or when I worked at AT&T, I came into a whole pile of free BlackBerries.
Yeah?
Was that a myth? That's not a very good myth. That sounds
not
like
a myth, actually. I thought we were playing, is it a myth or is it true?
No,
I don't know.
Why would you think we're playing that? I never said we're playing that.
I decided that's what I wanted to play, so I started playing that.
Blackberries actually grow on trees. This is why they're named after this. It's actually a really elaborate genetic engineering. Yeah. So that's why they're kind of overpriced, because they thought it would be cheaper to grow them on the trees, but it's actually way more.
Bushes, by the way, not trees.
Oh, bushes, sorry. Blackberry bushes. We apologize for that mistake. We will aim to be more accurate in the future. BlackBerry hopes to have a working version of a Fruit Ninja sometime in the next decade. They're just working out how to do it with the little mouse pointy thing that the devices come with by default.
Okay, listeners, someone report what we just said to BlackBerry and get us some free viewership, eh?
Yep. Get us on the myth page. They're gonna be like, we have Fruit Ninja right now. We got it 3 years after the iPhone. Come on.
Just make sure to tell them to embed the video version, okay?
Matthew Hughes, who pointed this story out to me initially, he's going to be pissed. He's like the only BlackBerry fan left in the world, I believe. And yeah, so he wants to put together an article about a list of BlackBerry myths, which I don't know. We'll see. I just have. BlackBerry was the great Canadian company, and they just completely underestimated, to use the words of George W. Bush, what Apple was going to do with the iPhone. They just thought it was a non-threat, and they've been suffering for that ever since. Google saw what happened with the iPhone, and they were like, oh, crap, Android's a BlackBerry clone. No one's going to use BlackBerries in 2 years. We should make this into an iPhone clone. To their credit, I'd say. But BlackBerry just, They missed the boat. And now, Android issued a bunch of updates in the recent one, and I think it's going to be a pretty nice operating system in about a year, James. You're not going to have a lot of legitimate complaints. You apparently, I know this one's not bullshit, you can run Android apps on BlackBerry, like the most recent devices. That's cool, but the fact that you had to implement that feature speaks to how incredibly far behind you are.
But you can also run BlackBerry Messenger on iOS and Android, which is literally the only reason anyone ever buys a BlackBerry.
Secured communication. I mean, that's still quite, like, the President of the United States still uses a BlackBerry because of how much easier it is to lock it down. So they do have some
a special task force for doing that, but generally speaking, don't you think the rest of the BlackBerries are probably accessible by the NSA? I've got to think they are.
Total. I'm assuming Obama's phone is accessible by the NSA.
We can't really call anything as like secure anymore, can we? Don't even go there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So they don't even have that.
Pretty strong commitment to security. They fought the good fight against the Indian government who wanted the right to tap their stuff. But the Indian government doesn't know how we do things in North America, and that's if you want to tap something, don't ask for permission, just break the encryption. That's how we do it in North America. And the Indians just didn't get that, so they asked permission, and BlackBerry fought them. BlackBerry couldn't fight the NSA because the NSA didn't say, oh, can I please get in? They just did it. Anyways, speaking of inept American bureaucracies, let's get to the Motion Picture Association of America that last week issued a takedown notice to Reddit asking that our... What was the name of the subreddit here?
Full-length films?
Wasn't it like free...
Full-length films.
Full-length films?
Our full-length films. Yeah. They emailed requesting that this be taken down, to which the internet responded, holy crap, we can get full-length movies on Reddit? That's amazing. I had no idea. And it went from being this obscure subreddit with some enthusiastic pirates to being a full-blown phenomenon on the site. Posts about, I can't believe the MPAA pointed this out. I didn't know it was here, right? But it's still up. It was like a pretty crappy looking thing. Now it's got its own branding. There's True Grit right on the front page. Now don't click this because it's illegal. But yeah, most of them are on like YouTube, which is kind of staggering. Oh, and look, and some of them are legit. So there you go.
The ones on YouTube are going to be legit, though. YouTube doesn't let pirated movies hang out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe they are legit. I don't know. All I know is that this really brought a lot of popularity to that subreddit, which might be. It looks like it might be clean now. Let's check this out. I'm going to click one of these full-length films, assuming it's legal.
Yeah, they're like all on YouTube and stuff now.
Yeah, so maybe the MPAA... Oh, look, no, it was not legit, because this one YouTube video has been taken down by a copyright claim. Let's click the next one.
Which one was that?
True Grit. No, not True Grit, sorry.
Under the Skin.
It even says, though, on the sidebar, illegal content is not allowed, so please do not link to it.
Oh, so maybe they cleaned it up. So the MPAA kind of got what they want, but I'm sure there's some other new subreddit with full-length films for our people to exploit. So I guess... I was blathering on about some bullshit, but the MPAA kind of got what it wanted out of this, didn't they, James?
Yeah, they wanted to promote this, right?
Yeah, I think so. To let people know that you can watch movies legally.
Oh, is that what you... Oh, I see. Yeah, I gotta think this was probably a pretty bad way to watch movies anyway.
You know what? You combine that with the Reddit.com plugin for XBMC, I'm sure someone had a pretty kick-ass setup for watching recently leaked films.
Cam quality ones, excellent.
That's really the main reason against pirating at this point, isn't it? You get Netflix and it's HD. If you download it, you don't know what you're getting. So just pay for Netflix, people. It's not that hard. There's no ads.
But Netflix doesn't have the newest stuff, man.
I need
private
stuff, yo.
Because by no way is there so much TV and video content out there in the world right now that you couldn't possibly hope to watch it all. No, it's really important that you have the newest stuff.
I need all the new stuff, bruh.
But here's the thing with Netflix, is if you're on Netflix, you're not seeing trailers for movies, and as such, you don't know that something exists until
everywhere,
it
man.
shows up.
It's all over the place. I'm just there, and it's just all up in my face, you know?
Yeah.
I just see it, and I just want to watch it.
Did your character?
I want to eat it.
The hell are you talking about?
I want to eat the content, man.
I want... Are you stoned?
Justin died. You died for a second there. You went still, and then there was no sounds.
All right, let's move on. I have no idea what you two have been talking about. Let's go on.
Shut up, Bruce.
Canada, my home and native land. Yesterday, a law there went into effect that basically demands if you're going to email people regularly, you need their consent. It is not enough to have a checkbox that's automatically checked when you sign up for a service. You need to explicitly tell a company, I want to regularly get random crap from you in my mail. So this is a good thing, and if you are signed up...
Right, wait, backtrack a little. How is that not what ticking a box implies? How is that not direct consent?
The boxes are ticked by default frequently, and if the
so it's the default
ticked
thing
by
wrong.
default.
Like you can still tick a box,
believe.
and that gives direct consent, right?
Totally. But it can't be. It needs to be a box that exists, like the consent button needs to exist only to sign you up for the newsletter. So it can't be like, sign up for this thing, and leave this newsletter thing checked by default, and we'll maybe send you a puppy if you win the contest, but you're also signed up for a mailing list. That's you're not allowed to do. People need to want
I see.
your newsletter enough to go out, seek your newsletter, and keep it. So if you've been signed up for any mailing lists from Canadian companies, this week they've all been emailing you and saying, hey, will you pretty please re-sign up for our newsletter? Because we kind of tricked you before. And I've gotten a few of these, and I've just been like, haha, no. And now I don't get those letters anymore. So I
love the way websites like to really confuse you with those tick boxes, like uncheck this box if you'd like to not receive the email in possibly the future not. It's like, wait, do I have to not click it or click it? I'm not sure which. It's kind of like a lottery half the time.
Ukrainian referendum recently where they asked, do you want to not be part of Russia, or do you want to be part of Russia? And you're like, wait, there's no good option here.
Like, I don't really see the
everyone wants to be part of Russia. This is fantastic.
I don't see the point of this law, because most spam doesn't come from legitimate Canadian businesses anyway, right? It's the grey mail that they're talking about here, where you have to tick the box. But like most spam comes from China or Nigeria, or where's the other one? Russia. It's like, make this law in those countries.
So if those companies run out of Canada right now, they can be fined hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions for individuals.
But they don't, right? They don't run out of Canada.
Well, they don't anymore, but what we need is for everyone to do this. Russia, you need some new revenue, don't you? I mean, the oil's not going to last forever. But your spammers, I would say, are a renewable resource. You can keep exploiting them forever. This is never going to end. And then you can pay for your military adventures.
If Canadian spam is so easy to spot, though, because the subject line always starts with sorry, and then the whatever they're sending.
They could have filtered it out already. Sorry, but will you buy some hockey sticks? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry we're sending you this annoying email, but did you know that you could lose 100 pounds without working out? No, you can't, actually. Sorry, we lied to you.
Sorry. That was bullshit. Sorry.
Canadians. Sorry. They're so nice and friendly and stuff.
Yeah. One of my favorite podcasters in the world, Jonathan Goldstein, he does a show for CBC Radio called Wiretap that you should check out if you're into shows like This American Life. Wrote a pretty good article for the Globe and Mail yesterday for Canada Today about how sorry means so much for us. I'm going to throw that in the chat room. He's a genius.
Canadians are Canadian.
Good point, jackass.
It's true. 100%
Just excellent
factual
analysis. Most Canadians are Canadian. It's true.
Most of them. Not all.
Moving right along here. You don't want to move on? Okay. So
where are we
moving from Canada across the Atlantic to the UK, across the Atlantic to the UK. Stuff Magazine. I've never heard of this, but apparently they're like a technology magazine, James.
I used to read it when I was a teenager, yeah.
Really? And when you were a teenager, they put beautiful women on the cover. And this was like, I'm sure this had a profound effect on you. Made you more likely to read it?
Yeah, honestly, there wasn't that many technology magazines around at the time. There's Stuff, there's T3, and there was, I think I also read, kind of lads magazines based around technology. Of course, you had like the IT Pro and stuff.
So a lad magazine, so far as I can tell, is kind of like Maxim. is here? Like it's just stuff for
Kind
men?
of, yeah.
Women
Like
in it?
something targeted at young males. I
Okay,
guess,
okay,
would be the
okay.
definition.
And Stuff Magazine was like a lad magazine, sort of. But
It still kind of is. Come on.
it still kind of is. But apparently their readership, it turns out, is something like 40% female. And for those female, having scantily clad women on the cover, at least for most of them, wasn't that much of a draw. So they've dropped that. They're putting gadgets on the front. It makes sense that sex doesn't sell as much as it used to because...
Why would women have been reading it in the first place then? It's not like it's the best in technology writing around. I'm sure that...
That's what confuses me is why were they buying it in the first place?
I mean, they say that when they tested it without the cover models, that somehow the purchases were higher in those particular those tests. But
no, so here's the deal, okay? It used to be that sex could sell a magazine because men were sex starved, but I don't know if you've noticed, but pornographic materials have a widespread distribution at this point. And
also,
it's maybe
I don't think anything sells.
Not as much of a draw.
It's a magazine. Who's buying magazines? Period.
Well, apparently not that many people, because Stuff Magazine said it's only like 70,000. I mean, that's what 1/10 of what we do in a day at Make Use of.
Yeah, I mean the internet is
completely irrelevant, right?
That you can read whenever you want. It's just you don't need to wait a month for your magazine to come. You just go on the internets, and then there's this whole magazine to read.
I have a couple of theories about this. I think it could have just been that they changed it so much that it now looks like something new.
That you read regularly? I'm sorry, James.
I get one magazine.
What was your point?
It's a bi-monthly magazine called Retro, and it's a retro gaming magazine. And the only reason I get it is because I thought it was cool that they were trying it, and it was on Kickstarter. So I kickstarted it because I don't know. I was like, hey, that's cool. Someone's trying to make a retro gaming magazine, and I've yet to read a single issue. They're 3 issues in, but I've gotten 3 of them, and I have not read one yet. So there you go. That's my magazine. That's the only one I get.
I get The Economist.
I cancelled all my magazines ages ago.
Because, I don't know, I just enjoy reading something on a piece of paper that's not constantly popping up with messages from coworkers who want me to do stuff. I just really love the no notifications feature of a paper magazine.
You read it while you poop.
Phenomenal.
I know how you roll. You read it while you poop.
No, I read it outside on my deck with a beer. But, moving right along.
I suspect in a year they'll just cancel Stuff Magazine and be like, oh, well, that experiment didn't work. And now our readership's down to 20,000. I just don't think it's not worth
scantily clad women is much of a selling feature at this point, but it does alienate. So it no longer draws certain readers, but it alienates others. So I probably a good move overall. But yeah, it sucks to be print journalism at this point, especially around technology, because let's face it, there's a lot of sites that offer a lot of coverage about technology, including MakeUseOf.com, sponsors of this show. Are you going to talk about Android L, the chat room says, specifically Smarty?
Don't even know what that is.
I have no idea what that is. None.
Nope.
So,
okay, moving on. Gaming.
Moving right along. Steam. Steam sales. Famous excuse to buy games you don't really ever intend to play. James, what did you buy?
So I realized I'd been away from like the empire building genre for quite some time now, and while I do own Civ 5, I think that's a very dangerous road to go down. It's a bit like crack. Like you'll wake up the next day and think, where the hell did the last 5 years of my life go, and why am I now divorced? But just wanted something I can play for a few hours without being sucked into it. So I bought this indie game called Banished.
Yeah.
Which is quite surprising in and of itself, because I never buy indie games and I hate them. But it looked quite polished. It didn't look like an indie game like they usually do, where they suck.
Indie games don't look like that anymore, man. Indie games have evolved.
Yeah, apparently, because it looks really good. But it reminds me a lot of the original Settlers. Did you ever play that, Dave?
No, but I know what Banished is.
Yeah, it's like where you have to build up an entire town economy from nothing. So you need to build mines and farms and then grow different stuff. You need to have hunters and you need to make clothes and chop wood. Kind of really boring stuff that you wouldn't think would be fun, but is.
People die and it's sad.
Shit that I love. Yeah.
It becomes winter and it's all everybody's dying and starving to death, and then you feel bad because you didn't give them enough stuff.
But it's like it's a totally sandboxed game. There's not even a single player campaign. There's no elements of fighting. It's all about building your town, and you're just completely isolated from anything else. So that's kind of weird. But then I saw there was this new Settlers. It's up to like number 7 now, so I bought that too, and it looked kind of cute, but it's actually complete shite. And I have no idea how they butchered something, because it was an absolute classic like back in the day, and now it's just some complete casual gaming abomination. You know? So that was a bit disappointing. And if anyone has a recommendation, then tell me, because I don't want to get sucked into Civ again. Settlers 7 sucks. Banished is awesome.
Okay.
Well, I kind of want something more commercial.
What did you pick up?
Well, there's the new Civ coming out, James. You know, the new
The
space
one in space? Yeah, no thanks.
Apparently it won like all the E3 awards and stuff. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, that's because they like space. I hate space. If you take away the space thing from it...
Space is not that bad. I'm not a huge space fan, but it could be done well.
I hate most things in space.
Well, space hates you.
Yep.
So
Star Trek.
I got Terraria, which is like a Minecraft-like game, I guess.
Yes, I hate Star Wars. Minecraft.
But it's a side-scrolling, like an old-school-looking side-scrolling game where you dig and find things and build yourself a house and try to live, and zombies come at night, and so it's kind of like that open-worldy kind of sandbox thing, but it's like a 2D side-scrolling platformer also, instead of like that weird 3D stuff.
This sounds designed to
confusing.
make games.
It's pretty cool actually. I like it.
Oh, is this an indie game? It looks like it. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's an indie game. It was on sale for like $2, so I was like, you know what? For $2, I'll play that. And I think let's see how much.
2D Minecraft.
Yeah, it's basically 2D Minecraft. That's it. That's the best description for it.
Oh, kill me now.
I've already played 4 hours of it, so I feel like I've got my $2 worth.
Fair enough.
And the other game I bought is Hotline Miami, which is another indie game. And it's like Grand Theft Auto, the puzzle game. So like you have to go into these rooms and try to figure out how to get to like the end of the room by killing everybody in the room in like a top-down, old school graphics kind of look.
How is it a puzzle game? I thought you just went around shooting people.
Yeah, but it's like you have to figure out how to like, okay, I have to hit this guy, but that's going to alert his friend, so then I have to move over to here and get his friend to come at me here without alerting the guy, because there's a window here, so I can't move there, so I got to go to that corner of the room, you know what I mean? So it's like...
is this all in real time, or is it, you can pause it and things?
No, it's all real time.
Oh my god.
It gets really intense when you get to the later levels. It's really fun. I played a good chunk of that game at my stepbrother's house. He has it. He picked it up in one of the Humble sales, but he doesn't have a Steam copy of it. He has like the one you get, the DRM free one or whatever. And we have our Steam libraries linked, so I can play his games, but I couldn't play that one. So that was another one that was like $2. So I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll pick that up for like $2.
Wait. If I link my Steam library, can I play it?
Yeah, we have to go through the. It's the process is not as easy as it could be to link the Steam library, because you have to log in. You have to log into my Steam account from your computer, and then authorize your computer to be linked to my account. Then I have to log into your account from my computer and authorize your account to be linked to my computer. Then we log back into our own accounts.
Is that legit? Is that something Steam actually allows, or is it just...
Yeah, it's that family sharing thing. It's meant to be... It's intended to be with the people in your house, you know?
Oh.
Like me and Jess have our Steam accounts linked because I have like a quadrillion games and she doesn't really have
We totally
any.
live together, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's if you're willing to let someone log in on your Steam account on their computer in another country across the world, Steam doesn't really care. That's on you. If you want to let somebody log into your Steam account, then so be it.
But
you know.
But you only have to do that once, right?
Yeah, you just have to let you log in one time, authorize it, and then I log in one time, authorize it, and then we log back into our own accounts and change the passwords or whatever, and that's it.
You probably don't want access to my meager collection of games anyway.
I know. I always come out on everyone that I have my Steam library shared with. I am so on the short end of the stick. Like my stepbrother has like 20 games, and I have like 130. Jess has like 2
Damn.
games, and I have like, you know, like I don't get much out of it. I just give.
We need to do this.
Technophilia does not condone using the Steam's family share function in order to pirate games.
It's not really pirating though, because I can't play the game
you.
when he's on. Like, he can't play any of my games if I'm online playing a game. Even if I'm not playing that game, if I'm playing a game, one game, any game from my library. So if I'm online playing Dota, my library is completely inaccessible to my stepbrother or to James or whoever I'm sharing with.
Wait, I can still access my library, right?
Yes.
So I would have to play when you're asleep.
Yes.
And presumably when no one else is playing with your things.
Right, that's the other thing. But I mean, everybody else that I share with is in the United States on the East Coast, so we're all on the same time zone.
Oh, I could totally do well from this.
So you could play my stuff when it's, you know, in your morning when I'm still asleep.
Like,
I'm sure you have like 2 games that I would play Banished if we do this. Anyway, we'll talk about this later. So then the only other thing I bought was some Dota items. They were having like every day they were having like those little chests that you buy and you get like a random item from the chest. They had a bunch of those on sale. So there was one day that there was an item that I really wanted in one of the chests, so I opened it like 3 times to get the item.
That's ridiculous, Dave.
But I had like a 1 in 12 chance of getting it, so getting it on the 3rd try is actually pretty good. And I could have turned around and sold the item on the market for like $8, and I spent $3. So if I wanted to, I could have turned a profit, but I don't want to because I want the item. And Justin, what did you buy? Nothing?
I haven't beaten all the games I have. I'm not going to buy anything new.
Yeah, but you might as well get them because you may want them at some point while they're cheap.
All the games I want are going to be humble indie bundle at some point, and I'll get them even cheaper then. So why would I buy something if I don't have time to play it right now?
I don't know. I just like having the games, man. I just want to see them. It's like the same thing as my physical game collection. I just want my digital game collection to be big.
Yeah, I don't have that inclination. I don't know. I buy games because I want to play them, and if I wait, they'll probably be cheaper. So I do get the reflex to buy them now while they're cheaper, but they're gonna be just as cheap later. I don't know.
You're gonna be just as cheap later.
Nope, I'm going to charge a lot more for my services 5 years from now. And if you'd like to hire me to host your podcast or party, please get in touch at Pod on Twitter. Yeah, I could host your party. I'd be like,
what would you do as a party?
I could plan your party.
My name's Justin Pott. I'm at Timmy's party, and you are attending the party.
Keep doing that.
With me today is Timmy, the birthday boy. How's it going, Timmy? Yeah. I'm going to charge way more than I do for this, though. Just have to say. Yeah.
I feel like we've all been in the wrong business all this time. We should.
We should just be hosting birthday parties.
And then I'll come out of like I'll pop out of like they'll open the cake. I'll be like the stripper that pops out of the cake, but I hop out and just tell Timmy that he's an idiot or something.
The kid opens his gift and it's a friggin' Windows Pro tablet. And the kid's like thrilled because he's got a tablet, right? And then James comes out, "That's a piece of crap! What are you doing?"
James
you don't want a Windows tablet. You should have
bought rift on the kid's head and he's like, "You don't need to have a birthday party. Have a virtual birthday party, little Timmy."
I designed some friends for you.
Man, we have been doing this all wrong. All right, so you guys, are you guys ready to talk about something that's gonna be like a hot button issue or something?
Yeah, we'll probably just be done with it in a minute.
Yeah, do it.
All right, so you guys all know GiantBomb.com, my favorite video game site, the one that I applied for the job we are going to talk about today. Actually, I applied for it just to see what would happen.
Ooh.
Well, they had 2 open job positions at Giant Bomb, which is a big deal because they're a team of like 5 people at Giant Bomb. So when they're hiring, everybody goes crazy because that's like a very rare chance to work for them. And they finally have hired 2 people. One was a senior editor and the other was a video person. Both of the people they hired were 2 white males. Everybody else on Giant Bomb's staff are white males.
How many people work for Giant Bomb? It seems like it's a pretty tight staff. Like
very
it's not...
small. There's Patrick, Ryan's not here anymore. He passed away. Patrick, Jeff, and Vinny, and Alex.
So
and Drew.
I work for for a site that has
like
a lot of
5
diversity.
people.
I work for a site that has a lot of diversity, but we don't really hire anyone besides myself, maybe you, James, full-time. Like, most people have something else going on. But we've got people from many nations. I think we've got most of the races covered. I don't know what the races are. And we've got men and women, but notably on this podcast, it's just 3 white guys, right? So I don't know if there's a pattern there. But I also don't know that we went out intentionally to try to hire women, went out intentionally to try to hire people from other worldviews. It just kind of happened for us, right?
Yeah.
But it's notable that everyone who writes about video games, for us at least, white male.
Yeah, so Samantha Allen went on Twitter and posted,
Should we know who she is? Can we have some background here?
Yeah, who's she write for?
She's according to her Twitter description, she's a feminist and queer writer.
Oh.
I
Great.
thought
She
I
writes for the
read
Daily Dot, it says?
I thought I read somewhere that she is a yes, she is transgendered.
Is she the one who wrote...
started her surgery, apparently.
I'm wondering if she wrote the Grand Theft Auto review that caused that shitstorm.
It could be. She works for Sore Thumbs, which is like a video game podcast show.
Okay.
Anyway, she posted some stuff, saying how like Giant Bomb she was hoping that the boys club would be broken, that they would hire not necessarily a woman, but just some kind of person of minority. So either someone who is gay, someone who is a girl, someone whatever. And they didn't. They hired two white males. So then of course after she posted that, everybody flipped the shit on her on Twitter and was being assholes, because that's what people on the internet do.
They did.
Why flip out on her though? I don't understand. She's allowed to make.
People are very protective of Giant Bomb. It's like it's not just like some website. It's like a tight knit community, and people went ape shit over it because they were calling out their precious Giant Bomb. And of course, then Jeff, the owner of Giant Bomb, was like, "Hey, people being assholes on the internet in the name of our community, stop.
Don't.
You don't represent us."
I think I like Samantha Allen because her Twitter handle is an Arrested Development reference, and I approve of that. So, I don't know. I haven't read her stuff.
I don't like her because she defines herself as a feminist, which instantly gives off warning signs, right?
Yeah, well, she did not handle herself very well on Twitter. Like, anytime when people, like, there was a situation where somebody gave a legitimate question, was like, what if the 2 people they hired were the most qualified people? And her response to that was "fuck off." So.
Dear.
And then there's other stuff happening. Like there's this really well-known female games journalist named Lee Alexander. She writes a lot of really good stuff for like Gama Sutra and things like that. Yeah. And she went on Twitter and posted something along the lines of everything I've ever written is more interesting than anything that Giant Bomb has ever done. And then,
that's just a good thing
to which
say.
People replied, "No, it isn't, you moron!" Right?
But then she deleted the tweet and then started tweeting, "Why is everyone attacking me now?" And it's like, come on, really? That's this lady was the first person was legitimately calling something into question. Like, isn't it a little weird that Giant Bomb only hires white males? But the second person is clearly just digging at people to piss them off.
I thought we established Giant Bomb was only like 4 people.
It's 5. Plus whoever works in the backside. Like whoever.
I think it's a little bit early to be saying cultural diversity is needed in a team of 5 people.
Well,
it's a weird moment in the history of gaming, okay? Because most of the people in influence in the companies who make the games and in the companies that review the games, the media, happen to be white men. I could say happen to be, you could argue it's by design, whatever. But that's not true of most of the people playing them. So there is a legitimate argument to be made that more diversity in games media would make the media more relevant, like the conversation we had before. Forcing that to happen artificially, I personally am not so sure about, right? But I do think there's an argument to be made here. I do think that these people are being unfairly held out. I don't know. I feel like as a white man, I have the ability to screw up on Twitter a lot, and no one gets on my ass about it because I'm just some white man who cares. I feel like these people are getting more attention for their insensitive statements because they're in the minority position. I do think that. I do think, okay, maybe Phil Fish gets a lot of crap when he says stuff on Twitter because he's made an asshole of himself, right? But I just feel like I don't know enough about the situation here. Obviously, it is a weird moment in video game history, I think, because the demographics are changing
for the job, or is she just saying it was unfair?
She specifically said she did not apply for the job.
So how the fuck does she have any idea whether there was some kind of prejudice against women? I mean, if she went to an interview and seriously felt like, oh, they were talking about my boobs or something, then legit, there's obviously a problem, right?
People have been making this complaint about The Daily Show, which was a very good show for a long time, but if you were black, if you were a female, there wasn't a whole lot to look at that show to identify with. They've remedied that problem, and I would argue that the show is more interesting because of the points of view that they now can get across that they couldn't before. So I don't think this is a I want my people represented on this thing kind of an argument. I think it's more like maybe you could make the site more interesting by doing this. And you know what? I think if you think that's true, make it happen. Do it yourself. You know, this is the internet.
I think that's their choice to make, though.
Here's my controversial opinion is that Giant Bomb should be able to hire whoever the hell they want.
Totally.
If you said we have to bring some black female onto the podcast in order to get more culturally diverse, I'd be like, well, who the hell are they? Do they have a valid opinion? Are they fun to chat to? Like,
Dave doesn't have a valid opinion, and we keep him here.
That's true. I can't.
Need to talk about that.
Accurate.
Just being. No. I'm like, maybe if we had someone with a different point of view on the show, it could be better. I think I'd probably listen to it. I don't listen to the show now. I don't like the personalities, and I think it's crass personally. But
well, why would you listen to it when you heard it in real time, living color, bro?
I'm perfectly fine doing it on the show. I'm just not a fan of the show myself.
I think if Giant Bomb gets to be 50 employees and they're still all white male, then we can start asking questions and calling bullshit.
Yeah.
But until that point,
it's a little weird. Yeah.
A tad fast.
Yeah.
A tad presumptuous.
But I think it's more just, it's not, this is just the latest one I think is more the issue. It's more that like every video game publication is mostly male. And, you know, I'm maybe going to sound like a dick here, but if you take a look at most of the females who work for like IGN or GameSpot, they are very attractive females who were, it appears as though were hired to host some type of video segment while being attractive.
That does happen. That does happen.
That sucks when the best way to break into games journalism as a girl.
As a writer, I think there's just barriers in place that they have trouble with, and that's something we need to think about as a broader culture, right? As a broader video game enthusiast culture. You might not think of me as a video game enthusiast because I didn't buy anything during the Steam sale, so maybe I have no credibility here whatsoever.
But James, that's what defines your credibility.
I did say. Dave points out in the chat room, if Make Use of was all white males, that would be a problem. Well, yeah, because we got like 40 employees. If we were all white and all male, I'd feel a little uncomfortable with it, right? But we have a lot of diversity. It's a little easier for us because we can have someone who's raising kids, and they can do quite a bit of writing for the site because it's not a full-time commitment. It's a totally different equation, right? Then a Giant Bomb, I believe they all go to the office every day.
Yes,
right?
They have to, move across the country and go to California.
I mean, that's a pretty big hiring decision then. It's not just like, okay, we'll give a chance to this Indian guy or whatever.
And I don't mean to argue for a second that a woman can't like work for a site because she's going to have kids at some point. That's a bullshit argument, and God knows my wife makes more money than me. And like she's the career person in this opera. I stare into a webcam on the internet during the day and call it work, right? So like I totally get women can do whatever they want. Totally get that. You said being a feminist is a bit of a problem. I think of myself as a feminist. I think women and men should be fundamentally equal when it comes to career opportunities. And in certain ways, we do need to restructure society to make that happen, particularly offering benefits like maternity relief.
Well, I think there are two kinds of feminists, maybe. Ones who want equality and ones who are militant.
think there are
men,
thousands
basically.
of kinds of feminists, and there's thousands of kinds of video game fans, and there's thousands of kinds of communists and Republicans, and
But
every
generally
single
the sort
worldview
of
in the
person
world.
who advertises
single worldview in
themselves
the
as being a feminist is probably not that good. I mean, you can be a feminist without wanting to advertise it like that, like it's a thing, like you're really proud of being that, and you can want for equality without declaring it to the world.
Well, you don't self-identify as anything politically, so I don't really see you as having a lot of, like, how would you describe yourself? Just some guy?
A liberal misanthropist. Liberal misanthropist. That'll work for me.
Liberal misanthropist. That's okay. That's great.
I really
so
don't find myself as anything. I have no real political views on anything, period.
Saying that is a political point of view, though.
I suppose, yeah.
That's a political point of view to have. And there's this assumption in games culture sometimes that there's such thing as a neutral point of view, and there just isn't. Saying misogyny in games isn't an issue is a political point of view you're making, right? That's a political statement. Saying that Grand Theft Auto's treatment of women is totally okay because it's just a game and everyone should calm down is a political point of view, okay? So it's a little disingenuous to say keep games out of politics, or keep politics out of games. And I think a feminist point of view can guide things in a way that makes them better and more accessible to broader audiences. Do I think everything should be run according to the dictates of Anita Sarkeesian? No, but no one's saying that. It's just, yeah. Title, liberal misanthropy, I kind of like it. What would be the symbol of that political movement, James?
That's a very good question. We'll just have to make the symbol an Oculus Rift, because
I guess so.
The liberalness of being able to do anything in virtual reality with the misanthropy of never having to meet anyone else in the world.
Or we can just go with Old Faithful and just use a picture of James's face.
Picture of James, liberal.
that hasn't let us down yet, so.
I think I would describe myself as a techno-realist if I have a political point of view. So, like for climate change, for example, I have no faith whatsoever that government will figure it out, but I think some scientist somewhere is working on research that's going to solve the problem for us, and the political system won't collapse because someone else will figure it out.
Changes carbon back to oxygen, yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I
Something.
believe the political process won't be able to handle the problems we're facing, but the technological process will.
But I believe the political process will take credit for it.
Oh, totally. Oh, totally.
Right?
Totally. Just like the economy's recovered now, right? And now both parties are taking credit, as though they did it.
Right.
It's not like they were just arguing on the side of irrelevant points while people did work to make it recover themselves. No. It's because of our policy and or the other policy. So, yeah. Anyways, James is a closet nihilist.
We are going to ditch these last two stories and move on to a final segment of current giveaways, I think.
We were going to talk about Grass Simulator. Sorry. Don't care. That's stupid.
Yeah, we've gone way long.
So look, oh my god, current giveaways. Remember what we said last week where there'd been a bit of a lull and they were all going to come out at once? Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah,
so right now you can win a Stealth Pro gaming laptop. What's that, Dave? That's like a mad-powered laptop, right?
It's an $1,800 gaming laptop from MSI with a NVIDIA 870M, which is like the second or third, I think it's the third highest mobile gaming graphics card that you can get right now. So it's a.
Does it like run really hot on your lap? How do they get around that?
Yeah, no, it runs pretty hot on your lap. I mean, it's any gaming laptop is not really meant for your lap. It's basically
it's a tabletop
gaming portable computer. You can carry it around, but you generally want to set it up somewhere, not use it on your lap like you would with like a MacBook or whatever. But that's kind of every gaming laptop. That's their MO. It's just kind of unavoidable when you put that kind of power in it.
Also have a Microsoft Surface Pro 2.
Which is, speaking of like identity crises, pricey. There you go. What is that thing?
It's actually not the latest one. There's a Surface Pro 3, so I was a bit confused why we were reviewing this. But anyway, it's the Surface Pro 2 version. Recommendation, it's a plausible laptop replacement. Well, that's amazingly high praise there, but...
But it's decent. It's a good compromise between a laptop and a tablet, basically, is what I saw.
Yeah, it still runs Windows 8 though, so suck on that.
It's not the absolute. Well, you know what? Windows 8 does a lot of good things at this point. It's not a perfect tablet operating system. It's not a perfect desktop operating system, but it does both pretty well. And if you only want one machine, go for it.
I played Dota against some guy using a Surface. He's like,
we have
connected and said, sorry, I'm using a Surface.
Nice.
We have a couple of mobile accessory giveaways. The first is a portable battery bank, which is like, let's see, how many milliamp hours is it? Well, it's probably enough to charge your 8,000 milliamp hours, so that's about 2 iPad charges. And I also reviewed something called the Upper Desk Portable Cabinet Mount, which is like it's a mount that you put in your kitchen and you can put your tablet into it. It fits any kind of tablet, so it's pretty awesome. Even if they bring out like a 14-inch iPad, it'll still work. So that was good. Let's see what else. Wi-Fi SD cards, Chromebook 2. Oh my God, there's so much here. Canon EOS M mirrorless camera. There's tons of giveaways right now. And the good news is that we put them all into a special category now. So if you head over to makeuseof.com/service/product reviews, product-reviews, you'll find them all listed there, and you can just click straight through and enter them all in one click. Which is
so there
awesome.
is some non-product reviews listed in that section.
Yeah, that would be something I'll deal with in a minute. Shh.
Or what?
How to buy a laptop on a budget.
Yeah, I saw that there. That's a little weird with the category renames, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the show for this week. Oh wait, we've got some listener suggestions here. I guess we should at least mention it because people took the time to put stuff. There's a bunch of stuff from Tom Willoughby about Dota.
Yeah, some teams. This happens every year at the International. A couple teams are teams from very small Chinese villages are having a hard time getting their work visas to come to the United States for the International because it's that whole thing where they have no reason to tell them they can't come, but the United States has no reason to believe that they're going to want to leave because they're from such tiny, poor villages. So they're having a hard time. One team looks like they're not going to get it. One team looks like they will. So
okay.
That's weird. I thought America was just like throwing money at Dota players right now, scholarships and green cards and.
That's
well, I don't know how it works.
Free healthcare too.
The federal government doesn't run the universities here. There's like layers.
Yeah, the federal government is more concerned with the fact that they're afraid these guys will come and never leave. Especially if they come and win $10 million at a Dota tournament.
Chinese, in which case we don't want you in America.
This by no means is unique to sports. I remember we hosted Canada, the Little League World Series, and the Cuban team up and disappeared. Like the Cuban team, it was in Saskatchewan, and no one showed up for their game, and then no one knew who they were, and they're probably in Toronto somewhere still to this day. So
isn't Little League like what 5-year-olds play? I thought, are you seriously shipping 5-year-old Cubans over to Canada?
Like this happened? No, it's like 16-year-olds Little League.
Really? I thought it was little babies.
No, Little League is like 12-year-olds.
Oh, okay. Anyways, this isn't just a video game thing. It happens in a lot of places.
Huh.
So they will have probably one of the teams who lost in the qualifier fill that spot, if I had to guess. So, that sucks.
Wow, how much did he post about?
Anyways, thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, sorry. Wrap
up. If that's what you're asking about, yeah. You kind of cut off there. Let's wrap this up, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen.
People about the thing that we were talking about before the show.
What
they would think.
No, let's talk about that more internally. I've got some changes in mind for the show. I think it's... What we do need help with, that we did talk about before, is what kind of shows should we guest appear on to get some cross-promotion and then have them show up on ours. We really want to exchange audiences a little with some other shows. So if you've got some shows you like, you think one of us would be a good fit for, think of a specific host. If you think James would be good on a show, say so. Let us know at facebook.com/Technophilia podcast or twitter.com/the.Technophilia. Again, my name's Justin Pott. I talked to you today from Boulder, Colorado. James Bruce joined us from London. Dave LeClaire is in Connecticut. We all write for the site makeuseof.com, where you can go to get regular updates and tutorials about all technology. Check it out. Any closing words, Dave?
They should have me on the Giant Bombcast. I'm a white male.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You do fit the demographic pretty well. We're going to try to get the TLK.io guys on the show next week because they fixed their service, and it worked straight through the show this time, and that's going to be fantastic.
What, we don't hate them anymore? Well, that's not a thing?
We don't.
Okay.
So let's move on to the after show, gentlemen. Apparently they were running a
you
beta.
have to reprogram a chat room.
Yay, we got a working chat room. I have no idea how they fund this thing. I mean, it can't be taking up a lot of power, but they've got no ads on it. So
What's the title suggestions?
The best one I saw, and people can correct me, is "This man is a liberal misanthrope."
How do I spell that?
Oh, you're doing the art?
I don't know. I got yelled at for not doing it last time. Everybody got mad, so I assume that I will. Everyone's like, I want to see some bad art.
It's in the chat room.
I don't know. Maybe we should alternate. Maybe 1 week bad art, 1 week good art. So maybe you should do good art this week.
It's not going to be that complicated this week. I just need to find a hilarious names, right?
Oh, God damn it. You're not using my face again.
Dude, liberal misanthrope. Who are we going to do?
You could get little Kai and put an Oculus on his face.
Oh, we're going to use your kid?
You're going to let us use your baby?
Yeah, totally.
He's well below the age of consent for...
He consented. He told me this morning.
He can't consent. He's a baby.
He stuck his thumb up and said,
Daddy,
okay.
Use my image.
He's not even going to know it's him when he looks
No, because
back.
James, by eating food that I give you, you consent to me using your image to promote myself on the internet. That's you say that to the kid every morning.
You agreed to the TOS when you popped out.
Yeah.
Poor Oculus.
Okay, well, we need to think of something over the top if we're not just going to use a picture. I'm sick and tired of photoshopping. What's it called? The Oculus Rift. I'm just sick of it.
Aww. How can you ever be tired of photoshopping Oculus Rift?
I should just have a template with the Oculus Rift so I can put different things behind it. I think I've done fruit, I've done fish, like just behind the glass in the front. I guess we could do something else.
Dave Prax says, all bad art from you, please. I don't think that's a good idea, Dave. I think we should be professional 1 week and then unprofessional the next week.
Hey, see you guys who are leaving. It was good having you.
So, sorry, Dave. You've been outvoted on this one. We're going to go with alternating good and bad art.
Use a picture of the feminist moaning about giant bomb. She'll love being called this man.
Wow. Wow.
Woman expressed her point of view.
Wow.
People attacked her for it. In a way, like
oh, that was wicked.
Jackass on Twitter.
I don't even.
We
don't even need to make a title anymore. That's it. It's done. It's over.
This man and then a picture of her.
Doing
Did she really kickstart a sex change? Because that's
so
awesome.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. I have no clue. And you know what? It's her business. It's her business. Who cares? Let's get over this obsession with people's sexual identities. Like, who cares? If they do good work, I want to work with them. If they don't, I don't. Yeah.
Well, apparently she quit Twitter for a while, so.
And their identity, anyway.
You know what? Seeing... I can imagine, like, you're being attacked constantly. Some people who are attacked a lot that I follow on Twitter are amazing. And, sorry, I'm dropping Legos all over the place. They're amazing in their ability to just take it and not get pulled into a troll debate, right? It's the easiest thing in the world when a troll shows up in your comments. I did this video about net neutrality. No, I didn't do a video. I did an article that had a bunch of embedded videos about net neutrality that explained it pretty well. And this guy showed up, and he just started saying in the comments, like, oh, but it's the government trying to control our speech. We can't let them do that.
Huh.
And I engaged, and I shouldn't have engaged because the guy was just trying to piss me off, and I let him piss me off, and because of that, I gave him power. But it's the hardest thing in the world to just ignore that. It's so hard.
He might not have been
so now imagine, you say something on Twitter, and every teenage boy in the world is now calling you words that I'm not even willing to say on this podcast. podcast, and that's saying something. And then imagine responding perfectly calm to everything. Because the second you don't respond calmly, that's going to be the tidbit that ends up in all these articles. I just think it's an impossible situation that we put a lot of people into that wouldn't have happened pre-internet. At least they would have had the decent being dragged onto TV to make an ass of themselves. Now they do it from the comfort of their own home, and it can just be the slightest remark that's going to end up doing this. So I identify.
I just think everyone should be able to hire whoever they want, though. I think that's what it pretty much should just come down to.
Yep.
Oh, totally.
That's what my liberal attitude says.
Be permissible.
Don't they have laws or something that say you have to have, like, diversificationals?
No, there's no laws about that. I mean, some universities have made it, and some companies have made it a policy to be diverse.
Oh, but it's not required?
It's not a law, no. It's required that you don't persecute. Like, it's required that you never say, well, we'd love to hire you, but you're a woman, so you're going to get pregnant, so we're not going to hire you. Like, that's illegal, right? But it's totally...
Plus, I mean, Giant Bomb is part of CBS Interactive, and I'm sure that CBS Interactive as a company has plenty of diverse employees. They're just a subdivision of CBS Interactive anyway.
Almost definitely, right? So, you know, this is a conversation that's going to happen at some point.
Well, I'm glad we're nice and diverse and we just hire whoever we want, and it happened to work out that we have had plenty of applicants that are qualified from all different countries and races and genders and everything, so I think that works out as a happy coincidence, I suppose.
Yeah. I like your Hitler cat here. I don't know how old this is, James.
Holy crap. That is... Oh my... Wow.
How old is this photo?
Actually, no. Oh, yeah, okay, you can.
What are you going to say, don't use the cat? What, does the cat have a problem being publicized?
We don't have permission from the cat.
No, I was going to say someone might identify me from that I don't want to be identified with.
Wouldn't someone identify you from your face?
No, because I don't look like that anymore.
I can still look at that and tell that that's you.
Yeah, that's true.
You are skinnier.
Pictures, I still am like, oh, that's James.
Could you give me some horns as well, though? I feel like I need some devil horns on that.
Ooh, horns. That sounds good. I like horns.
Yeah. Okay. I need some devil horns. And maybe give the cat a bit more of a Hitler tash. It's not obvious enough.
Just kind of touch that up there. Okay. I need to know where to put the
eyes.
Laser eyes?
The cat totally.
Okay, well, let's get the text on here first.
Laser eyes. James looks evil in that pic, says
liberal laser eyes.
James looks evil in every pic. He's just an evil soul.
What?
It's the pointy beard thing you had going on. It's that pubic hair on your face that makes you look evil.
Yeah, that was a bit pubic.
James is the heavy metal rock star. He's gonna sing a heavy metal song.
I had majorly long hair at that point.
Except on the top of your head.
Oh, you're funny. You're funny, man, Dave. I'm pretty sure I still had hair at the top of my head there as well.
There's quite a bit missing, though, from, like, this whole region.
Oh, yeah, from that. Yeah,
you want me to stretch this? You want me to, like...
Yeah, give me hair.
Yeah, fill in the rest of this.
No, that's a good horn spot, so I gotta find a good devil horn here.
Just draw it with the paintbrush tool. That's how I would have done it. But I guess this is your art week, so it's supposed to look good.
Week,
yeah, it's supposed to look good. If this was me, it would be the cat would be drawn with a paint, and James would have a unibrow drawn with also paint. You know.
We could. Oh, maybe I should just learn from you. I like keep trying to like.
No, don't learn from me because we got to keep it so we have like professional art.
Two distinct arts. Okay. Sign
we have
of
our own style.
I got a whole Wikipedia article about like the heavy metal horns over here.
After I started the Hangout, I wrote you guys a note, and then no one came in while I was gone.
What does it say?
It says BRB, bros. But you never came in.
Dot in the middle.
It's a comma.
Why is our rose in capitals as well?
It's all in capitals. That's how I usually
BRB
write.
is supposed to be in capitals because it's an acronym, but
Well, usually when I write by hand, I use all capitals.
yeah. Why have you got liberal on 2 lines?
Because it fit, okay?
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, yeah, I got to position them better.
Should make them 2 separate layers so you can space them out.
Yeah, I would separate those.
Yeah.
But don't take it from me. I'm just a Photoshop genius.
Yeah. I'll take everything from you.
I'm just a prodigy. That's all.
I don't think they're red enough, though. You really picked the worst set of horns ever, didn't you?
Well, find better horns, jackass!
Stop judging the color of his horns, James. All horns are treated equal at Technophilia. We will hire any horn regardless of color.
All the other ones I found were like fake looking. Or like attached.
Give him antlers instead.
Yeah, you don't get horns anymore.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Man, I'm getting so many crappy Halloween costumes.
How much podcast could a podcast chuck if a podcast could chuck podcast?
What the hell?
What? It's a serious question. How much podcast could a podcast if a podcast could podcast podcasts?
I don't like you.
So?
That's a good point. We work well together. Or do we?
I don't know.
When James wasn't on the show, that week was not good.
Really?
So, Dave, what do you think of that? What?
I thought it was alright.
Thought it was alright? Man, they're
Jess
fans.
said it was alright. She always tells
Okay.
me when the episodes are bad, and she said it was alright.
Oh, that's good.
I've had plenty of times where she's been like, that episode sucked. Like the one where James hosted, she was like, that episode was terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That's like the main reason I haven't left.
No one explained what hosting meant.
Well, considering you've been on
You
the
just thought-
podcast and seen what Justin has done for 100 episodes, I think we all figured you would have been able to extrapolate what the job
Did you just
consisted of.
that the flow just
Shows how wrong you were.
That's true. That's what we get for trusting James to figure things out by himself. Never trust James to figure out things on his own. Unless it involves like writing some kind of weird WordPress plugin or something, then he'll figure it out in like 5
James
seconds.
takes things very literally. If you say I'm to host the show, it pretty much means I will launch the Hangout and invite you. It doesn't mean I'm going to start chatting bullshit.
Not keep the conversation flowing and going, just...
He meant host like James will put it up on a web server and host the show. Fuck you, Google Hangouts. I'm hosting this now on my own personal. He'll go out and code the software.
And the
that
show
we
just
use.
starts with us like looking at the screen. James is like, Justin!
I don't think you can make us
Why
a
don't you-
Wikipedia article just yet. Although you're welcome to try. They'll probably delete it.
Well,
What,
we're not
a
working on a
Technophilia?
Wikipedia article yet.
Scudderman was just talking about someone needs to make one.
It seems like we are important enough to have one.
No, no one's cited us. We need other like publications talking about this publication.
Hmm. Why is there someone in our chat named Fart Pussy?
There's always someone named something stupid. It's because we're a classy...
Doesn't mean you have to say it.
How about that? I said that.
I wish you hadn't.
This is the longest art ever. Hurry up, I got work to do, bruh.
Well, leave.
No, I gotta be here for the whole thing.
You know what? It would have been done, and then I went on a wild goose chase for better horns, and there aren't any.
I might miss something important if I leave, and I don't want to miss something important.
Why is Oh, I merged all the layers like an idiot.
Dumbass.
I agree. I hate James.
Dumbass. What?
What?
Oh.
What?
Who? Where?
Can I send a picture into
When?
the chat room? How do I do
You gotta post it somewhere, and then post a link.
somewhere?
Put it on, like, that website where people put pictures.
What's that?
Imgur? Imgur. Hey, didn't we have them on the show and they said it was Imgur?
Yeah.
This happened.
Yep.
Thought that kind of settled the debate.
Yeah, but
I'm going with this.
I still say,
like I said, I don't listen to guests.
Dang.
You don't listen to guests? Okay.
I don't listen to guests.
Well, thanks for everyone who hung out that long. It's been a blast having you here. So yeah, if you have any ideas about where we could guest and who should be a guest on the show, let's do this. Let's get some exchanges going. We've done this a while. I think we're okay at doing a podcast, but we want to get a lot better. We want to become...
What is this episode called? Liberal what? How do you
This
spell it?
man is a liberal misanthrope, and it's on 2 lines because you know what? That's the only way to make it really work.
Thrope? Is that right?
Check. There's this thing called spell check.
I don't have that.
Well, here, I'm going to drop this file into friggin' Slack, and you can make sure it's spelled the same as the art, okay? We don't need to be on the air anymore. Thank you so much for hanging out.
How do I know the art is spelled right? Can I trust you? All right. Should we shut the broadcast off?
He's like a very informal typist. So.
Should I shut it off?
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago. Do it. See ya. Bye. Just take it off.
I'm PewDiePie.
Bye, everyone.